Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is going to be like a recap of Monday evening's debate, because I really think I'd like to straighten out some stuff. I myself wasn't exactly happy with the way it went, and I wasn't prepared. There are things that I wanted to say that I couldn't. There were and things that now, when I look back on it, I should have kind of been aware of and wasn't. So I want to kind of put them out there. But I want to give a shout out to my friend Dan Watanabe. I will put his video link in the description or a pinned note, because he has come up with he has a video about the movie Noises Off that I think y'all need to see, because it's the first producing venture between Kathleen Kennedy and her husband Frank Marshall without Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And it's quite fascinating, and I think it bears a lot of weight because of what has happened with Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy. So anyway, I want you guys all to see that, and just, leave Dan a remark. He's a great guy. I've learned a lot from him. He's one of my Hollywood go-to people, and subscribe to his channel. He's a great guy, and I think you'll learn a lot, and you might get some more insight into Hollywood from somebody who actually is there right now. So this is, let's get into the debate. So Monday night, me, Craig from Reviews for You, DJD, Odin, Jeremy, and Matt Kadish went on Geeks and Gamers to have a quote-unquote debate. And it was about, is Kennedy gone or isn't she? Now, Matt Kadish truly believes that she's going to be there till 2030, which, you can walk away going, you're nuts, because that's stupid. No, there's nothing. Here's my problem. He's basing it on his own opinion. He has no proof. No one's talked to him. Now, these are the things that I did not know before I walked in there and I wasn't prepared. You go onto Kadish's IMDb page, and the only movie he ever directed or had really anything to do with was a movie he did in 2000. That's 18 years ago. He's since been gone from Hollywood since 2012. That's 6 years ago. And strangely enough, he doesn't talk to anybody in Hollywood to get the scoop, to get the 411, the skinny on what's going on at Lucasfilm or anything else. Contrast that with me in politics. I left Washington, D.C. in late 2003. I was going to get married, and I had to move to Hawaii because that's where my husband, as a Marine, was stationed. So I quit my career. I do not put my career ahead of my husband. That is not how I was raised. So, do I still talk to people in D.C.? Yes, I do. Do I still care about what goes on there? I don't like politics. I love the Republican Party, but I still talk to them because they're my friends, they're my contacts, we talk. So I find it fascinating that Kadish cannot come up with anybody, well, my contact says, the rest of us do. Anybody, a source for his opinion, there on the ground right now in Hollywood, and I find it fascinating. Now, I did kind of bring that up, but I wanted to put everything in perspective. The fact that he also has 3 different Twitter accounts is very bizarre. The fact that, nothing he said reflects the reality of what's going on in the business right now. The business has drastically changed. Steven Spielberg is not the Steven Spielberg that we all remember the high-powered guy. This is a guy who had to literally shop the script for Lincoln around to get the money to make it. 20 years ago, oh yeah, make it. Everybody in Hollywood would have been dying to sink their money into it. See, the thing about it is Kadish didn't come up with and didn't say is that Lincoln wasn't a remake, a reboot, or a sequel. And that's what Hollywood's doing right now. They're just regurgitating stuff that's already been done. And because they're afraid. And because they're not making any money across the board. I mean, I haven't heard what box office looks like from the summer, but I'm pretty sure it's probably really dismal because last year's, I think it was a 25-year low. And that's for the summer, and that's bad. And Hollywood is not the way it used to be. And you don't run a movie company that way anymore. Now, granted, back in the day in 2012 when Kadish was still there, Kathleen Kennedy was pretty popular. She was, basically the person helping transition Lucasfilm from George Lucas's leadership to being part of the Disney Empire. He also failed to remember or mention that she was supposed to be an interim president until they could find someone to run the company. And somehow she grew roots after The Force Awakens came out, and that's why she's there. Now, we can talk about all this to what blue in the face, but I want you to understand. You can see something's going on without having people tell you. Jeremy brings up the fact that she hasn't been seen, except for once, since TLJ came out, when the fans started going nuts. Just go through YouTube, and you'll see I'm basically insurrection in the Star Wars fan rank. The woman has not been seen once since Solo came out. It was the one time on the red carpet, a short blurb. She looked rode hard and put away wet, and then that's it. We have not seen her since. And you can rationalize it, saying, well, they want to hide her because she's not popular with the fans. Here's something for people who want to agree with Kadish to wrap their minds around. Bob Iger, and Jeremy brought this one up too. Bob Iger talks about James Gunn in the Hollywood Reporter interview and says, Alan Horn was the one that fired James Gunn. He had to push it through me, but he's the one that fired him. But Bob Iger is the one that took responsibility for what's going on with the Star Wars franchise. Everything he said was the stuff that Kathleen Kennedy should have been upfront and forward saying. So where is she? Now, you can sit there and rationalize saying, well, he's just taking the heat to protect her. Or is he taking the heat to protect the shareholders and to help her smooth her way out? Again, remember, she was never supposed to be there permanently. Alright? Her only claim to fame is The Force Awakens. And how that happened was, Chewie, we're home. That's it. You hit the right note on that trailer with Harrison Ford and Peter Mayhew showing up on the Falcon. You got it, okay? That's why The Force Awakens worked. Combined box office net for all the 4 Star Wars movies is between $2 billion and $1.3 billion. They paid $4.3 billion for Lucasfilm. In fact, they got it at a bargain. Somehow Kadish is going to say, well, Disney doesn't really care. Yes, they do care. Here's a little something that he doesn't know. That there's $1 billion in the hole now doing Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland because someone screwed up the California permits. Yeah, Disney cares a lot because that's a huge expenditure. Okay, it's not how you do business. I don't, maybe 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, but they don't do business like that now. So how do you kind of look into this? How do you kind of, without having people come up and say, hey, I heard this, and B, this is going on, and, you know, with you know, physical evidence too that Craig has. I've seen some of it. Okay? I've seen some of it. So there you go. And all the rest of that stuff. So how do you kind of tell it what's really going on here? I mean, you know, I haven't heard stuff out in the street. Other people have. You know, Grace Randolph, her video. I'm gonna try to put that in a pin note here too, so you guys can actually watch what she had to say, because it's everything that I knew. Everything that Jeremy knew, everything that EVS knew, everything that Craig knew. So how do you tell without all that information? Kennedy's absence. Also this. The week before Soilo came out and bombed, Pablo Hidalgo, I think it was a week before, maybe it was a little earlier than that, writes to James Gunn, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Should I be afraid? There are concerned trolls asking me, basically wondering out loud if I should be afraid of what the studio thinks of my Twitter account. I'm paraphrasing what he said. To James Gunn, this tells me two things. Gunn was already getting investigated by Disney long before all this stuff blew up. 2, Hidalgo knew he was being looked at. So the week of Soilo's collapse at the box office, Pablo Hidalgo's Twitter account goes nuts. It disappears, it comes back, then he erases it, and then he has this bizarre bio, HVAC solutions, blah, 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 and it keeps going and changing and changing and changing. Finally, he comes up with this one, and I'll paraphrase this, but I'm going to put the tweet on this video. Something about poor little geeks like him, all billionaires should be butchered and mulched. Something about yelling at the parent company whom you should be very, very angry at right now. Nothing happened. Nothing. Why is he putting that in his bio on his Twitter account? Okay? I have the screenshot. I'm sharing it. I'm going to share it on the video. Then one of his friends comes up and says, Pablo Hidalgo doesn't deserve this. Nothing's going on. Nothing at all. See, these are things you can just see. Then we have Ryan Johnson flipping off a fan who didn't really say anything mean, just asked him about his trilogy. That just happened. And of course, there are screenshots of that too. You know, so these are the things you can tell. It's like, what is going on? I mean, why are these guys so upset? I mean, are they just pulling the Lucasfilm? Is Johnson just pulling the usual Lucasfilm bull terrier attack mode on a fan? Or is he really upset by something? Because the rumors are out there that he's not going to get his trilogy. They've already pushed it back. Bob Iger doesn't mention it in his interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He doesn't mention Kathleen Kennedy at all in The Hollywood Reporter. Now, you can argue with me, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. Alright? Because it's now obvious something is going on just by watching people's behavior. Now, how do I know this? After having watched congressmen interrogate witnesses at a hearing, and watching the other staffers, basically watching people do that on Capitol Hill, you can pretty much tell if a person's lying or telling the truth. You can pretty much see what is really going on behind closed doors just by the way they behave. And since I don't know Pablo Hidalgo or Ryan Johnson, their behavior on Twitter is a lot to me. This says a lot. That I'm reading it too much into it? No, I'm not. The reason why is because I know what to look for. Alright? I know what to look for. So, something is happening with them. Now, when it comes out that Johnson's contract has been bought out because Kennedy, like a moron, because she has signed him to a 3-trilogy deal. And, Disney's going to have to buy that contract out. Just like she stupidly signed Alden Ehrenreich to a 3-movie deal, and we'll never see another solo movie, at least with him in the lead. And also, I want to say this. There's part of the story that we've heard is that Iger wanted to teach Kennedy a lesson. So he hated TLJ, hates it. The suits at Disney hate it. But he said, okay, we'll let her do what she wants and she'll learn something. It went out. It lost 7% attendance in the second week, which is unheard of for a Star Wars movie. And then he insisted Solo come out in May. Now, I'm going to explain something. Bob Iger is not a stupid man. Kathleen Kennedy's not a bright woman. He basically set her up to fail. Again, remember, she's only supposed to be there as an interim leader at Lucasfilm till they got a person to lead Lucasfilm. Okay? And the only thing that got her to stay and grow roots was TFA's success. That's it. Other than that, she's been mediocre with Rogue One, which is the only movie that in the Disney canon that I can tolerate. And the other movies have just been horrible. Her leadership at Lucasfilm, from the novels, which are terrible, unreadable garbage, the comics, which are a mess, the games, which is just, the EA thing is just, it is a crime. All happened under her leadership. Again, she wasn't supposed to be there. Somebody else is supposed to be leading the charge. But again, she grew roots because of TFA. Alright? Now, how do you get rid of somebody like Kathleen Kennedy? Well, first off, is she as popular as people think she is? Not really. No. Right now it would be very difficult to fire a woman. They're going to act like she's the only woman who ever ran a movie studio. Those W freaks. That's not true. Sherry Lansing, Dawn Steele, there are others who've successfully led movie studios. But what they're doing already, her and her husband are getting, for their company, Kennedy Marshall, the Irving Thalberg Memorial Award for whatever. It is not an Oscar. That is not an Oscar at all. You have Iger slickly decapitating her career at Disney by basically taking the blame for Star Wars. So when she leaves, it won't be because her leadership sucks. We know the truth. But she'll leave under a different cloud. That's fine. I don't care. All right? This is the one thing. I know a lot of people want to see her get her butt kicked. She's not going to. Okay? Trust me. It has happened. Probably behind closed doors. There was like a 17-hour emergency board meeting before that big meeting between Iger and both areas of Lucasfilm, the one in England and the one in California, and with Feige and John Lasseter listening in. And that's when all this, that happened, I think about the week before Solo, maybe the weekend of Solo's bomb. And that's when all this went for her. And that's when Hidalgo, it looks to me, is out. Craig says he's out, and after what Craig showed me, I believe it. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the debate. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any notes. I was just like, we're just going to hang out and talk. And it ended up kind of being kind of hard at times because I really wanted to put Kadish on the hot seat. When you've got people that work in Hollywood watching the things that he was saying to us on Twitter and laughing at him, that says a lot to me. You can't sit there and say you're an expert and you haven't been there in 6 years. He's a good storyteller. He did a really good job tearing apart TLJ. But, again, that doesn't make him, Mr., he's just a guy with his opinion, okay? It's the wrong opinion. But anyway, there were also extenuating circumstances to what was going on, things that I wasn't aware of. And it would have been different if there had been a sort of conference between me and a couple other people before we went into it. Because I really would like to have a one-on-one discussion with Kadish about this without, you know, that format. You know, because I really think a lot could actually be resolved. It really kind of, I think, put a split in the fandom menace too, but by just catering to him without saying, yeah, but you haven't been there for 6 years, and the only movie you ever directed was a short film in 2000. You know, I mean, he did work at Universal. He, you know, but that's it. You know, I mean, that's it. And that does not make him an expert. I'm not an expert either, but I do have experts going, you know, at me. So I just kind of want you guys to be aware. I'm not really upset. I'm kind of concerned about some things, but it's not about the debate. I just wanted to put my feelings out there that Kadish, I think, is intentionally blind to. He doesn't know how to read people. He doesn't know how to read tea leaves. Hollywood being, DC being Hollywood for ugly people, that's what John McCain called it. You learn how to read tea leaves. You learn how to predict a person's next move. You learn how to talk. You learn how to interrogate people. You learn how to put a person's ideas, their opinions, into clarity for them when they can't. And when you suddenly have a clear view of A, who you're talking to, B, their experience, and see where they're coming from, then you have a point at which to talk to them, confront them on the yes or no of what they're talking about, the yays or nays. And I didn't do my homework, and that's my problem. That's me. I did not know, and it was my problem. There were other things that were going on that I wasn't aware of. I am now, and I hope maybe we can do this again sometime, because I really think he'll walk away going, I missed that. See? Because he said nothing that was surprising. He said nothing that was shocking. He had no proof, nothing to stand on. Just his opinion, and that he used to work in Hollywood. And that's not enough anymore. Okay, so this is stuff, just trying to put some stuff into perspective. I'm going to leave Dan Watanabe's channel link in a pin note, or the description. I'm going to put a link into the debate, for the debate video from Jeremy. And, you know, you guys can decide for yourself, but this is what I was trying to talk about, is the stuff I wanted to say and would have said if I'd have been prepared. And that's what I'm doing. So anyway, this is Steph, setting out. See you around the galaxy.